Morning everybody, welcome back. We are on now chapter 11 of our book Indie in the Cupboard called School. Today I'm going to read the first half of the chapter, which is the first 6 pages on the next 3 slides, and tomorrow I'll continue to finish the rest of the chapter. So here we go. School. He bought them a low type of egg cup full of hot water and a corner of soap cut off a big cake to wash with. They stood one on each side of it. Little Ball, already naked to the waist, lost no time in plunging his arms in and began energetically rubbing the whole of the top part of his body with his wet hands, throwing water everywhere. He made a lot of noise about it and seemed to be enjoying himself, though he ignored the soap. Boone was a different matter. Omri had already noticed that Boone was none too fussy about being clean, and in fact didn't look as if he'd washed or shaved for weeks. Now he approached the hot water gingerly, eyeing Omri as if to see how little washing he could actually get away with. "Come on, Boone, off with that shirt. You can't wash your neck with a shirt on," said Omri briskly, echoing his mother. With extreme reluctance, shivering theatrically, Boone dragged off his plaid shirt, keeping his hat on. "I should think your hair could do with a wash too," said Omri. Boone stared at him. "Wash my hair?" he asked incredulously. "Washing hair's for women, 'tain't for men." But he did consent to rub his hands lightly over the piece of soap, although grimacing hideously as if it were some slimy dead thing. Then he rinsed them hastily, smeared some water on his face, and reached for his shirt without even drying himself. "Boone," said Omri sternly, "just look at Little Ball. You call him dirty, but at least he's washing himself thoroughly. Now you just do something about your neck and, well, under your arms." Boone's look was now of one stark horror. "Under my arms?" "And your chest, I should think. I'm not taking you to school all sweaty." "Hell, don't you go running down sweat. It's sweat that keeps a man clean." After a lot of bullying, Omri managed to get him to wash at least a few more bits of himself. Okay, if you click on slide 10, I'll read the next 2 pages. Speak to you soon. Okay, welcome back. I'll continue to read. "You'll have to wash your clothes sometime too," he said, but this was too much for Boone. "Ain't nobody gonna touch my duds, and that's final," he said. "Ain't been washed since I bought 'em. Water takes all the stuffing out of good cloth. Without all the dust and sweat, they don't keep you warm no more." At least they were ready, and Omri pocketed them and ran down to breakfast. He felt tense with excitement. He'd never carried them around in the house before. It was risky, but none so risky as taking them to school. He felt that having family breakfast with them secretly in his pocket was like training for taking them to school. Breakfast in his house was an often dicey meal anyway, with everybody more or less bad-tempered. Today, for instance, Adil had lost his football shorts and was blaming everybody in turn, and their mother had just discovered that Gillen, contrary to his assurances the night before when he had wanted to watch television, had not finished his homework. Their father was grumpy because he wanted to do some gardening and it was raining yet again. "I know I put them in the laundry basket," Adil was saying fretfully. "If you did, I washed them, in which case they're back in your top drawer," said his mother. "But you didn't, because I didn't, and they're not. Now listen to me, Gillen." "It's only a tiny bit of history, one mini little castle to draw and a mouldy paragraph on moats and baileys to write," said Gillen. "I can do it at school." "Stinking climate," muttered his father. Those onion sets will rot if I don't get them in soon." "Gillen, did you borrow them?" put in Adil. "I've got my own." "You actually told me a lie last night," said his mother. "I did not. I said I'd nearly finished." There was no mention of nearly. "You probably didn't hear." "Probably not," retorted their mother. With the row going on from the water margin, Omri ate his cereal in silence, grinning to himself, hugging his secret. He slipped a couple of cornflakes in his pockets. I bet Omri took them, said Adil suddenly. Omri looked up. Took what? My shorts? What on earth would I want your shorts for? It might be your idea of a joke to hide them, Adil retorted. This was not as outrageous as it sounds. It had until very recently been a common form of revenge when Adil or Gillen had been specially unbearable for Omri to sneak some valuable possessions and hide it. Now, however, Omri felt very far away from such babyishness and was quite insulted. Don't be stupid, he said. So you did, said Adil in triumph. I did not. If you click onto slide 11, I'll continue with the last half of the chapter. Speak to you soon. Okay, welcome back. I'll continue to read the last 2 pages. You're red in the face. That's proof you're guilty. I swear, said Omri. They're probably under your bed, said their mother to Adil. Go up and have a look. I have looked. I've looked everywhere. Oh my God, it's starting to hail now, said their father despairingly. So much for the apple blossom. Under cover of the moans that went up about the prospect of no apples in the autumn and the exclamations about the size of the hailstones, Omri slipped his coat on and ran through the bouncing ice lumps to school. On the way, he stopped under a protecting yew tree and took the little men out. He showed them each a large hailstone, which to them was the size of a football. Now, when we get to school, said Omri, you must lie very still and quiet in my pockets. I'm putting you in separate ones because I can't risk any fighting or quarrelling. If you're seen, I don't know what will happen. Danger? Asked Little Bull, his eyes gleaming. Yes, not of death so much. You might be taken away from me. Then you'd never get back to your own time. You mean we'd never wake up out of this here drunken dream? Said Boone. But Little Bull was staring at him very thoughtfully. Own time? He said musingly. Very strange magic. Omri had never arrived at school with more apprehension in his heart, not even on spelling test days. And yet he was excited too. Once he had taken a white mouse to school in his blazer pocket. He planned to do all sorts of fiendish things with it, like putting it up his teacher's trouser leg, if he had had a man teacher then, or down the back of a girl's neck, or just putting it on the floor and letting it run around and throw the whole class into chaos. He hadn't actually dared do anything with it, except let it peep out and make his neighbours giggle. This time he had no such plans. All he was hoping was that he could get through the day without anybody finding out what he had in his pockets. Patrick was waiting for him at the school gate. Have you got him? Yes. His eyes lit up. Give, I want him. All right, said Omri, but you have to promise that you won't show him to anybody. Omri reached into his right-hand pocket, closed his fingers gently round Boone, and passed him into Patrick's hand. The moment he'd let go of him, things started to happen. A particularly nasty little girl called April, who had been playing across the playground at that moment of the transaction, was at Patrick's side about 2 seconds later. What have you got there then? What did you give him? What did he give you? She asked in a raucous voice like a crow's. Patrick flushed red. Nothing. Push off, he said. Once April pointed her witchy finger at him. Look at Patrick, blushing. Look at Patrick, blushing, she squawked. Several other children speedily arrived on the scene, and soon Patrick and Omri found themselves surrounded. Okay, now carry on to slide 12, where you've got the questions. You can use the text or replay the audios to help you answer them. Speak to you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.